Local programming on KRWG Public Media made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you.
This is KRWG Public Media, TV, radio, online. News that matters. Now, across the Mesilla Valley and the borderland, the stories that shape our community. From the KRWG Broadcast Center at New Mexico State University, this is Newsmakers.
Up front this week, a powerful story about an amazing young man. Las Cruces business owner Marco Olvera is a naturalized citizen from Mexico, but his journey to a new life was extremely difficult. As a child, Olvera was abused and held against his will for 5 years in a mobile home. Michael Hernandez has his story.
So this is the room that me and my brother would stay in.
Marco Olvera remembers the night his mother woke him and his 6 siblings up to escape from his abusive, alcoholic stepfather.
She opens our door and, she just makes a silent move and points out the window. And so I wake up my brother and we climb out of the window.
That was April 22nd, 2007. Before that pivotal evening, the 26-year-old says he and his family were held captive for 5 years in a mobile home in Deming. Olvera, who runs a video production company in Las Cruces, described the childhood trauma at his studio.
What did you experience in that mobile home in Deming?
Oh man, what did I experience? First and foremost, we were all victims. Some of us, me and my brother, were kept in the room, while some of us, my sisters were, allowed to be, roam around, like willingly around the house. For sure, we didn't go to school. When we were in this room, we weren't allowed to open the windows. We weren't allowed to open the door.
And the only time the door opened was for when they brought in the food and took out the plates. And me and my brother would watch TV by getting on the floor and watching TV through the crack.
Olvera says he wasn't allowed to communicate with his family. He and his brother would draw or play with their shoes and socks to pass the time. As an undocumented immigrant, he says his stepfather threatened to deport him to Mexico or worse.
My brother is a U.S. citizen, but he was talking about just, killing us, because he did threaten my mom with that. He did threaten to, do that. And so when that's on the line, the last thing you want to do is do anything to piss off the aggressor.
Olvera says his stepfather's alcoholism worsened over time, as did his abuse. But he says the family never tried to escape out of fear and retaliation. Not until that night in 2007. That's when the healing process began. At 13, Olvera says he received support from La Casa, a local domestic violence shelter where he serves on the board of directors.
Luckily, they put my family back together. It's taken years, but they definitely did an amazing job. They definitely put me into the path of schooling, and they definitely put my mom into the path of working, because up until that point, she wasn't allowed to work. She was stuck in the house with us.
Olvera found his calling in school. He says Las Cruces High School's student television station, Bulldog Broadcasts, sparked his passion for media.
I wasn't sure what was gonna be my life. I definitely didn't think I'd live to see this far. I didn't see any hopes, any aspirations, any dreams, anything. I didn't have none of that. And the only reason I was going to school was because of this media class. And that was it. It was just the passion and the love for the media that kept us going.
After graduating in 2012, Olvera and his best friend Isaac Palafox founded Palomora Productions. The company shoots music videos, photos, commercials, and even weddings. But Olvera still had another goal, becoming a U.S. citizen. On the day he filed his final citizenship papers in El Paso, Olvera learned his stepfather had died after choking on his own vomit.
And it wasn't until that day where I was turning in all my paperwork that sign came and said, hey, you don't have nothing to worry now, you can fly high.
Olvera became an American citizen at 21 years old. He calls it the proudest day of his life.
That felt like I could fly. There was nothing holding me back at all. And there hasn't been anything holding me back since. And, you know, that day I really took an oath, and I put my hand up and I said, I will become a contributing member of this society. And that has been the goal since. And I've been striving and I've been going forward, and, you know, it's been great.
Olvera says he wouldn't have the drive and outlook he does today without his past. He details that adversity in his book, In the Land of Opportunity. His message to other survivors of domestic violence is to, quote, think about tomorrow.
All because I didn't have it around me. I was struggling so hard. And my imaginations took me there. And all I did was, if I don't have it, then I have to become it. If I don't have it, I will think about it. If I don't have it, it will be here. And now I am doing, and I've done way more than I imagined. You know, when I became a U.S. citizen, I had a lot of dreams and aspirations. I've done about all of them, if not more.
For KRWG Public Media, I'm Michael Hernandez.
Now to Living Here, the people and places that make our community special. Coming up, a look at a trend that continues to grow in Las Cruces and across the country. Food trucks provide an amazing variety of cuisine at affordable prices. But first, a museum you may not have visited yet, but we'll take you there. Living Here has a close-up look at the Doña Ana County Sheriff's Museum.
The Sheriff's Office Museum has been in existence for approximately 25 years. In 1993, Lieutenant West Gilbreth, who is now retired from the Sheriff's Office, began collecting different items of a historical nature and displaying them in the Sheriff's Office that we had at that time located at Marquez and Bounce. Our museum isn't funded externally by federal funds or state monies. Everything that we do here is from the Sheriff's Department. The employees curate and clean the items that we have here and ensure that things are protected from the elements. We have had outside assistance in coming in to determine whether or not the environment that we're displaying our museum items is protecting them. Fortunately, we found out that the environment that we have here at the museum is protecting our items. We had a person with curation experience come in from Farm and Ranch and kind of gave us some pointers. So we learned a lot of good things, that we were doing a lot of things right, but that we had too many items out, and to rotate stuff. So we're going to start, if we haven't already, rotating things out, gain increased interest in what we have, because somebody's going to see something different if they come in 6 months. Our museum is unique in that it displays items that have a true connection to local law enforcement in Las Cruces and Doña Ana County. We probably do have one of the nicer collections of old firearms within our museum. The museum is secure. Things are locked up. Those firearms represent some of the tools of the trade throughout the years here at the Sheriff's Office. I think that's unique, and that they're on display, and then want people to come down and enjoy those. The Doña Ana Sheriff's Office has been around since 1852. We have 167 years of rich history that we're very proud of. Our museum is located at 845 North Motel Boulevard at the Sheriff's Department, located on the south end of the Doña Ana County Government Building. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Our phone number is 525-1911. We invite everybody to come down. We believe that our museum is a wonderful interface with our community. We invite everybody to come down, enjoy what we have here at the museum. They're going to see things like Pat Garrett's hearse, badges displayed from officers that worked with this department long ago. My favorite display are the photographs of the majority of the sheriffs that we've had in our history. To stand in front of those photographs and have the knowledge that these men and women now, with Sheriff Kim Stewart, have passed through this organization, come here with a servant's heart over many decades, and have tried to have a positive impact in our communities. And that gives me a connection to the past, and I enjoy that the most. What I'd like visitors to our museum to take away from their visit here is that law enforcement has evolved over time of the last 167 years here in Doñana County. What we have here represents some of the evolution of that technology. People here will understand that the police officers of yesterday had a very difficult time, and some of the equipment here represents that. And I would like to think that they'd walk out with a little more appreciation for what those old-time cops used to do.
I come down here every Saturday. I get a burrito, breakfast burrito a la Mexicana, okay? And it's my favorite. And I can't get anything like this anywhere else.
My wife came up with the name for the food truck. She just said Cocina Mexicana, Cocina Mexicana Express, and of course, Cocina Mexicana Express it is.
I think food trucks have become so popular because they're very convenient and more cheap than going to a restaurant.
Well, I think they're really wonderful because I think they're more of a taste of local cuisine, and that's wonderful. I've done a lot of traveling. Local cuisine is always the best. The street food is wonderful. I love it.
I think food trucks have become popular lately because each food truck is unique in its own way. I mean, we have a really tight-knit community with trucks here. We all talk to each other, we help each other out as much as we can. Sometimes they'll call me for an event that I can't go, and I'll try to find other trucks to go. We know that we offer a really unique experience to all the customers that come. So I think that's one of the main reasons why food trucks are popular.
Well, I wanted to do something that included a lot of different styles of food, and so I thought something to tie them together would be skewers. So I thought, what better name than skewered? We try to do upscale fusion skewers off of a truck. So we do full plates, try to pair everything well, make everything from scratch. So I would really say our specialty is upscale fusion skewers.
I think food trucks are popular because they can move around and be at events that don't normally have restaurants. And especially like the Toad Creek doesn't have a restaurant, but you can get a good meal.
I think it's a really great way for restaurant owners to be able to start off and build their own menu, have some original things, and have like unlimited creativity.
I think people want to try to get into the food business and put their food out there, and obviously the overhead and the cost of starting a food truck is significantly lower than a brick and mortar restaurant, so I think it's kind of allowed people to dip their toes in the culinary world without taking that full leap of investing in a full-on restaurant.
The food truck business is the same as a restaurant, except with a little bit more work, because, for example, your sewage, you got to take care of that too. It's not like it goes down the drain and you forget about it. You got to load your water every day, so fuel your generator every day.
Having a food truck, you still have to abide by all the rules and regulations that a regular restaurant would do. So any restaurant has to go through the health department and get a permit from them. It's the exact same thing with the food truck, and you have the exact same standards.
You know, something I think a lot of people don't know about food trucks is they associate it with just quick to-go food, maybe inferior to a brick and mortar restaurant. But I know we and a lot of other trucks really try to put out food that is on par with any brick and mortar in this town.
I think the food that I get from the food trucks is wonderful. It's really good food, and I enjoy it. And I like eating on the street.
Today I wanted to try to see if the meal I'd gotten at the Luchador was as good as the last time, which was the torta, the grand torta that they have. Generally we look for vegan entries, so today I'm not doing that.
We partner up with Casa de Peregrinos. Lorenzo Alba, she's really great at getting sponsors. They get a sponsor for Lucha for Hope, for example. When somebody donates to Casa de Peregrinos $200, that's going to feed 100 homeless people. And I mean, it's not just like a soup and something like that. We try to do something a little elevated. We've done marinated pork chops with garlic mashed potatoes. We've done fettuccine Alfredo. We've done, so we kind of go all over the board. So Lucha for Hope has been around for like 6 years now. Pretty proud of that too.
Contaminated water created by man or Mother Nature poses clear risks to public health. Las Cruces Utilities recently opened a new water quality lab to enhance water and wastewater safety. Michael Hernandez takes us on a tour of the facility.
In a region as thirsty as southern New Mexico, every gallon counts. To ensure drinking water stays safe and wastewater is treated properly, Las Cruces Utilities unveiled its new water quality laboratory located on West Amador Avenue. Utility officials say the roughly $4 million facility is about 5 times larger than the city's existing test site and is designed to meet green building ratings. Water Quality Lab Manager Luis Guerra has worked for the city for more than a dozen years. He says the extra space allows the lab to keep meeting safety standards and run more tests if needed. The facility has separate labs for water and wastewater, which Guerra says helps prevent issues like cross-contamination. He demonstrated how the lab analyzes drinking water with a container of residential water. Guerra says technicians collect samples at homes served by the city more than 100 times a month.
The techs at the Water Quality Lab, they go out and they sample at least 110 times per month within the city. They'll knock on your door, ask if they can sample your water, go to a spigot or go to your faucet and get a sample just like this.
Federal regulations require the utility to test for dozens of contaminants like copper, lead, and arsenic that could potentially seep into the groundwater. In addition to testing pH and nitrogen content, Guerra says the lab checks for harmful bacteria like E. coli. To do that, technicians use a special powder.
We bring the samples in here, and what we do is we add a special media. It's called Colilert. Put it in here. It's food for the microbacteria. Swish it around for a while, and then we put it in an incubator right here and allow it to, if you will, grow for 24 hours.
If the sample stays clear, Guerra says that means no growth has formed and the water is safe to drink. But if it turns yellow, there's bacteria.
I want to say 99.9% of the time we never see any growth.
To detect E. coli specifically, technicians use a UV light. Guerra shines the wand on 2 control samples containing bacteria.
And then we'll compare it to the other growth of bad bacteria, total coliform here and E. coli. The way we can tell the difference between the total coliform and E. coli is E. coli fluoresces. This test is done. If we were to see any bad results in our system itself, we'd be required within 24 hours to notify the system and to let the public know that something's wrong. But The city always has no news to tell, so no news is always good news for you guys.
While drinking water must be completely potable before it enters the water supply, Guerra says wastewater can contain some microorganisms as long as they stay within certain levels. According to city data, the Jacob Hands Wastewater Treatment Facility treats more than 3 billion gallons of sewage per year. After processing the waste, the city discharges the effluent into the Rio Grande. But before that happens, it must pass inspections by senior lab technician Yadira Reyna. She says making sure wastewater is properly treated before it enters the river is vital for the health of the environment.
Our expectations is that when it's going out of the plant, anything that is discharged into the river, because this is where our wastewater will go, we're making sure that it's not going to hurt any fishes or any other living organisms that are in the water.
For example, Reyna also tests wastewater for E. coli. She fills a sample cup with test powder before giving it a good shake. Reyna says working in quality control can be challenging because of the level of focus required.
It's very important that when we're running the analysis that we're paying attention. Working in a lab is very detail oriented. So we need to pay attention to every small detail. We need to know numbers, how those numbers come in on a daily basis. For example, they expect numbers to be at in a certain range. We need to notice, hey, when that number's not in a certain range, something's going on here. They need to be notified.
Reyna carefully pours the test sample into a plastic tray, which gets sealed for incubation. A UV light test on an actual wastewater sample showed 4 tray cells testing positive for E. coli. She compares that number against a table of range limits.
And we have a reporting number of 4.1. Now, for this plant at the Jacob Hands Wastewater Treatment Facility, exceeding limit would be 410. So to have a 4.1 is awesome.
In addition to having technicians like Reyna on tap, Guerra says Doñana Community College students help the lab as interns through the school's water technology program.
We are required to sample 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Guerra says those who work at the facility take a personal interest in the water they test.
They have a strong drive and love for the environment. Not only being homegrown here, we're working as a job and trying to keep the environment safe, but we actually have families in here. So the job that we are doing here is not only professionally satisfying, but actually it protects our families ourselves and the community themselves. So what we do here is very important, in all aspects.
Because clean water is something everyone can drink to. For KRWG Public Media, I'm Michael Hernandez.
Animal Village NM is a no-kill animal shelter located in the middle of New Mexico so that we can be accessible to all of the animal control facilities in New Mexico. It's an unending stream of animals suffering in New Mexico, and with only 4 no-kill animal shelters, it's an overwhelming situation. Since we opened Animal Village NM in 2010, we have done about 1,550 rescues. In the coming months, we will be having pets here for only 1 month. We will put them through quarantine, we will vaccinate, spay, neuter, microchip. Our target will be 30 days, at which point, if they have not been adopted, they will go to the Pacific Northwest, they'll go to Colorado. We have partnerships with other rescue organizations who use foster homes, also rehabilitation and training. So we're going to a different model so that instead of saving hundreds of dogs every year, we'll be saving thousands. We try to educate about good pet parenting at a young age. Our little bulldog, Lunchbox McGee, who is one of the Doñana County Old English Bulldog survivors and thrivers now, is our mascot, and he goes with me to elementary schools, and we teach about spay-neuter, about how to care for your pet, the dangers of chaining a dog. To find out more about Animal Village NM, how to adopt, how to volunteer, how to take advantage of our free pet food bank for those who are struggling to feed their pets, just go to the website. It's animalvillagenm.org. You'll also find there all the information about low-cost boarding as well as the training programs. Just outside of Alamogordo at 7246 Highway 5470. So we love to see young people come through Animal Village NM. We offer volunteer orientations every Saturday morning at 10:30. We love families to come out and start working as a family. We always say the husband and wife who volunteers together at Animal Village NM stays together. People would rather travel from all parts of the country here to New Mexico to this shelter and adopt because they're going to bring home a blessing, a healthy pet.
Haley, congratulations on being named a top teen.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here today. I wanted to start with a little about some of your school activities.
Yes. So I'm a senior at Centennial High School. I am in FFA, I'm the president, and I'm also in 4-H.
Oh, wow, so you really love animals, I
Yes.
bet. Yes. Well, tell me about community service activities.
So with FFA, we do stick courses at the corn maze. We put one on at the fair. We do fair tours. For 4-H, we do community cleanup. We collect supplies to donate to like the homeless shelters and stuff like that.
Lots of great activities, lots of help in the community. Tell me about your plans for the future.
So my plan is to go to NMSU, which I got accepted to do their pre-vet science to become a veterinarian.
Wow, you're going to continue that love of animals in
Yes.
your career.
Yes, sir.
Fabulous. Congratulations on being a top teen.
Thank you so much.
That's our time for now. Join us this week on KRWG Radio. Every weekday, it's Morning Edition 5 to 9, Fresh Air at 11, followed by Here and Now noon to 2, and All Things Considered 4 to 7. KRWG News is always online at krwg.org, and we'd love to hear from you. Email us with your story ideas and video submissions. The address is feedback@nmsu.edu. For all of us at KRWG News, I'm Fred Martino. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on Newsmakers.